Welcome to week 11, Programming Fundamentals with C Sharp. I'm Jim Kaufman with Rankin Technical College. So just kind of first want to just, share a little bit of good news as far as chapter 19 was our first, chapter 19 final written test. That's going to be the last one we're going to have for this course. And then also the chapter 19 hot, which we'll be doing this week. That will be our last hands-on test for the course as well. So that's great. All right. Sorry, I'm working through something here. Okay, so as far as today is concerned, what I want to go ahead and do is I believe the people that are live right now on the class for the class, they've already set up their database. So I'm just going to have a separate video on how to set up your database. So I think for just today's session, I'm going to go ahead and go through loading the database from the MDF file. And the MDF file is located for the lab, for the Chapter 19 lab within Inside Rankin. There's a zip file. And I'll just go ahead and show you how to load. You're going to unzip that file, and then you're going to load the MDF to create the database. And I'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to do some demonstrations of some SQL statements as well. A couple things we want to go over real quick also is some important dates and deadlines. So next Monday, November 11th is a holiday, so we won't have a live session that day. Usually when we have holidays, things don't really change that much since we're an online course and a lot of our assignments are due. The assignments this week there's going to be nothing due during the middle of the week, and the same with next week. So a lot of times that don't really impact too much for us, but just wanted to kind of point that out. Tuesday, November 12th, I actually have jury duty, and so Mr. Gudmanstead will be filling in for me. I'm not sure. There's a chance it may even get canceled or delayed, the court case, or, I could be there for multiple days as well. So I don't know. We're just going to have to see how that works itself out. And also I just kind of wanted to mention the week of Thanksgiving. I'm gonna be absent the beginning of that week, which is November 25th through 27th. And then Thursday and Friday, obviously Thursday's Thanksgiving and Friday's a holiday as well. So that'll be a shortened week for everybody. And also Mr. Gudmanstead will cover for me while I'm gone on that as well. So I just have this kind of earmarked as for final projects are due on Sunday, December 1st. We'll kind of see how that goes. And then from there, we're still going to have like a couple weeks left in the course. Usually a lot of times the final projects run all the way to the end, but we were kind of actually a little ahead in this course. So, we're probably going to have a couple extra weeks there. And so what we're going to kind of do is we're going to look at a newer framework. I'm probably going to have a couple small, short little labs. So it won't be too difficult. And we'll be going through that. And it's called Maui, and it'll be .NET Maui. So we'll go through that. Then also, I just wanted to point out that all late assignments must be submitted no later than December 15th. So now we're going to go ahead and make some changes to Visual Studio so that we can do the database exercises, the database labs for Chapter 19. So first, let's go ahead and go to the Start menu. And obviously mine's already highlighted here at the first one, but go ahead and search for Visual, up in this bar here, Visual Studio Installer. Click on Visual Studio Installer. Okay. And then up here, go ahead and click Modify on the right-hand side, Modify. And then up here at the top, we've got workloads, individual components, etc. Click on individual components. And we're going to want to go ahead and scroll down until we get to the cloud database and server section. And what we're going to want to choose here on that is we're going to want to choose SQL Server command line tools. It also automatically chooses sometimes other things as well, okay? SQL Server data tools. And then it automatically chose the third one in the list here. So you need these four. And then also choose data services, data sources for service reference here. Nope, I'm sorry, mistake there. Choose data sources, so you can uncheck that one. Choose data sources for SQL Server support. So you got these four checked here, and this one checked here. Everything else you leave it alone, okay? Also, so this is just for us to be able to create a database and so forth. But also we're going to be using link, which link will do is it's a link we're going to use these SQL tools so we can actually use link within our C# code. Okay. So another thing we want to go ahead and enable here to select is link to SQL tools, and that's in the code tools section. About the eighth one down, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, ninth one down, link to SQL tools. And then okay, and then you'll see all the things that we selected over here on the right hand side. And we're going to go to the very bottom here. We got the modify. Choose modify. Click yes to install. And this will download and install all of those different packages. Okay, now that we've downloaded and installed those packages, we can go ahead and close Visual Studio Installer. And our next step is to go ahead and for the Chapter 19 labs, to do that, we have to download our zip file from Inside Rankin. So go to Inside Rankin for the Chapter 19 and download that Henry database zip file. And once you do, okay, what we're going to want to do with that is we're going to want to grab that from Henry database here, right? And then go ahead and right click on that and do extract all, okay? And we want to choose, go to browse, and then go to where you've got your repository. And I'm going to go to my repository. I have multiple, so I'm going to go to my repository, and then under labs, Chapter 19. So this is our GitHub repository. Under lab and Chapter 19, we're going to select that folder, okay? And then we're going to extract. Click extract to extract that zip file, okay? And as you can see, we've got this Henry database here now, okay? It's got two files. You don't have to worry about the LDF file. The MDF file is the one that's important, okay? And MDF stands for Master Database File, MDF, Master Database File, okay? And so we have that under our lab in Chapter 19 now. Okay, and then the next thing we want to go ahead and do, so we want to come in, open up Visual Studio, and we just want to create a new project. It really doesn't matter all that much because what we're going to be doing for this MDF file for this Chapter 19 lab is we're going to be doing just regular SQL statements. We're not writing C# code. But if you want, we can just go ahead and create a new project. It doesn't really matter all that much. But so let's just go ahead and do a regular WinForm app. Okay. Let's make sure I have different ones here. I just want to make sure I grab the right one. So Windows WinForm app C#, right? So you can select that one, Windows Forms app C#, or you could do the console as well, and then hit next. And then here, I'm just going to do chapter 19 labs, whatever you want to call it. And my location, I'm going to go ahead and go to my repository, the same one where I put the Henry database file. Lab, chapter 19. We've already got that, so we're just going to select that folder. Okay, so that way we've got our Henry database there, and then also we're going to create this new WinForms app. Okay, hit next, create. So probably when you come in here, because I've already had some things open, so that's probably why yours is probably going to look a little different. So basically when we come in here, we've got our solution. If you have your things like your toolbox or whatever open, you know, you might have other things open here. Just go ahead and close that out. We're not really concerned about that for this. But here's our Solution Explorer here. And then up here under View, there's a new one. The Server Explorer would think you would already have had. But there's also now this SQL Server Object Explorer, okay? So we can click on that one, the Server Explorer. And then also let's click on the SQL Server Object Explorer, okay? So we have two of these, okay? So now that you have these here, this is basically your local database, okay? And that's what, when you downloaded all those packages, this is what this did. This created this and configured this for you, okay? So let's go back to Server Explorer. And so if for us to get that MDF file, we're going to load that Henry database. What we're going to want to do here is we're going to right-click on Data Connections, click Add Connection, okay? Up here in Data Source, we want to change this to Microsoft SQL Server Database File. Okay. And then go ahead and hit OK. And then it's going to ask us to browse to the file. Okay, we're going to hit Browse. And we're going to go to our Chapter 19 Labs where we have our Henry database. And click on that folder. And then here's our Henry.mdf file. Select that and hit Open. Okay, and we're going to come back here. We leave everything else like it is and just click the OK button. It's going to ask us if we want to reconfigure this kind of, and because it was kind of designed for a different version, a different instance of the SQL Server. So we're going to go ahead and select yes here. And now we have this Henry.mdf file, okay? Now if we click on this and tables, we can see here's our different tables that we have. And these are the tables that you will be using for your lab assignment. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the book one. So if you right click on this book one, you can, a couple of different things you can do here. You can show the table data, and this will show you, kind of made that, we have to resize this a little bit. This will show you all the table data. And obviously you can move this to expand this. So you got a book code, you got a title, you got a publisher code, type, price, etc. Okay? So this, just look, you can see all your data you have here, okay? And you can do that for each one of these by just doing right click, show table data, just so you can look at the, I would start by just kind of looking at the data and see the different columns you have for the table. Okay. All right. We didn't really need to do that. So the next thing you really want to do is on your Henry MDF thing, right click on this and then choose new query. Okay. And this is going to create a empty SQL file. Okay. And this is kind of where you're going to want to do all your select statements, all your SQL statements for the lab. Okay. And so you follow based on your directions of the lab. It'll have a list of everything that you need to do. And then here I went ahead and pulled up the assignment. It's called TSQL Lab, but you need to put this as the one for chapter 19. You need to put this in lab chapter 19, right? So here's all the different queries that you're going to run. So this is going to be just basic native SQL language. That's what we're going to be using. SQL stands for structured query language. And so that's what we're doing for this assignment. We're not using C# code. We're just doing basic SQL. Okay. And here's our different statements that we have to create. Okay. For each one of these. So we're going to list a book code. So you don't have to put it in here. Okay. You can actually just create your SQL within the Visual Studio. All right. And just save that file. Save that file in your lab, chapter 19 lab. And then I can look at that. Okay. You can commit that to GitHub and I can look at that. And that will be all your select statements. All right. So here, I'm just going to, just for the heck of it, this isn't necessarily the one you're going to do here. We're going to select star from, let me change that to, okay, select star from book. Okay. And if I just run this, oh, I didn't mean to run it like that. So what we're going to do, you're not going to run things up here. My mistake here. So what you're going to do is here's your execute to execute this query. You're just going to click that. So what we're wanting to do here is we're select star from book. Okay. And then we're just going to click this right here is execute. This will execute your query. So this is returning, star returns all of the rows from the book. So this is going to return all of the rows from the book table. Okay. Now you can do the same thing with the other tables as well. Okay. Let's just change this one to author. Okay. And click query here. So this is the results for all of the rows in the author table. Okay. And you can do that for each one of these. Okay. But your whole purpose here is obviously to follow the instructions within the TSQL, the chapter 19 lab. When another thing you can do here, maybe, so let's say here, let's say the first one, let's just go ahead and do the first one here. List the book code and book title of each book. Okay. So what we're going to do here, if we look at book, you can expand this to look book code. So we're going to select book code. So we're going to select book code right here, like this. Okay. Comma. And what was the other one? I've already forgotten. And book title of each book. So it's title, right? Comma, title. From, and then this needs to be book. So from the book table, we're selecting the book code and the book title. So when we run this, it's only going to bring back those two columns. Okay. We're going to click this execute, and there you go. So this is basically your first one. So what you can do here, a comment in SQL, you can do it just like this. And that's your, so you could do that for each one. You could put however you want to do it. You know, this is just one example. And then, you know, for your next one, you could do it like this. And then do your next one, right? So that way that will follow each one that you have in your assignment. So that was the first one. Here's the second one. Just a suggestion. If you want to do a little differently, that's fine. But, you know, make sure somehow you designate that this is the first, the first one, and then et cetera, all right, all the way through here. So, you know, you can actually do all of them within here. The only thing it would return, so it will return multiple stuff here. That's the only bad part. And, you know, if you want to just do one at a time and save it in a different way, that's fine as well. So let's just say select star from author. This isn't one that you need to do here, but I'm just going to show you. All right. And then actually see, it can actually did one table, then another table. It'll continue doing that. So this was the second one you're doing, right? You can always just do this for now also, all right? And come back and you know, uncomment them all, right? So that way you're only doing that one. So that one, you're only doing that author. And you can come back and do that, right? And then also, what I want to make sure I mention here is you want to make sure that it's going to ask you where to save this SQL file, right? So if you do File, Save All, it's going to ask you where you want to save the SQL file. So what you're wanting to do here is go back, navigate to your lab, chapter 19, and just save it in here, okay? And then click Save, and it will be there, okay? And so when you come back in here and fire this thing up again, you should have everything you need to finish your assignments. Let's just do that real quick. So we saved everything. We can close this. Hit save. And let's go back here and fire it back up again. Make sure everything's there. Because, you know, I'm sure you're going to do this more than one time. And so you come back in here and there's your SQL. Okay. Just make sure you save it. It's important to save it. Make sure you save it in that same directory so you know where it is. Hate for you to kind of lose what you have there. So you have to make sure you save it. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. This should help you with this is everything you need actually for the labs. Okay. And now I'm going to show you, we're going to take a look at W3 schools and just go through some different different statements, different SQL statements in there. Okay. So this will be very helpful for you because a lot of things we're going to be doing in that assignment. And actually, let me even bring that up too. So here's like, you know, the different things you'll have to do for this lab. List the book code and the book title for each book. So basically what you're doing there is you're getting the column, the book code, which is a column, and the book title, which is a column for each book, right? So you can you can go in here and see examples of this, where this is doing pretty much the same thing here. But in this case, this is a customer database, and this is the one column, and this is the other column, right? This would be, in our case, for their assignment, be book title, right, etc. But this is doing basically the same thing. And then you can try this yourself, run the SQL, and there you go. There's your customer name, and there's your city. All right. So that's a basic select. And then obviously, you know, you can always change things in here, right? So that we were just grabbing two different ones. So what's kind of nice about this, you know, online app here with W3 Schools is you can change things and run things. So here you're just going to do select everything. So then you're going to select all columns. So that's how you select all the columns, right? Select star. And you can hit Control Z too. You can go backwards too. So that's kind of nice. So there's your basic select statement, right? And then let's go back. Okay, we need to do this. Here's select distinct. And what select distinct is, so if we just, we're going to try this ourselves. So let's get rid of this. This is just selecting the country from customers. We run this. So you can see you've got all the count, you know, there's 91 records. And so some of the countries, so for some of these records, you have the same country, right? Here's Germany once, there's Germany again. You got Mexico a couple times, right? So that distinct, what distinct does, it's only going to bring back one. It's going to be a distinct country. So it's just going to grab the unique countries for each one, so you won't have duplicates, right? So this just returned records, 21 records, and it's just going to be a distinct country, okay? And that's the keyword you use there, distinct. Then here's a where clause, where we're doing is where the country is equal to Mexico. Just pretty basic here. This will only bring back where the country is Mexico, bring back the full record, right? So obviously, if you just want to bring back the customer name, you just put that in there, and it just brought back the customer names. All right. Order by. So here, it's selecting from a products database, order by price. So let's just go ahead and run this. So as you can see, here's the price. So you're going to see this is going to be in an ascending order, right? From lowest to the highest. Okay. Now if we did this and run it, by default, it's always order by price, right? But you can, and also you can order by, well, we'll look at this a little bit. You can order by two different fields if you got duplicates. If we, let's see if this has any duplicates. Well, yeah, 10 does. It actually might be available here when we go through these other commands. But yeah, so, you know, we can order by price, but then also order by, you know, the product name, so that it would order by both of those, right? But here I'm doing, by default it's ascending. By default it's ascending, but we have to put descending if we want to do it the other way. And as you can see, it's prices in descending order now. The greatest to the lowest. Okay. And I didn't see where it has that here. So let's just do this one more time. So let's run this. And then we want it to order by price. And then why don't we do product name? So we can do it like that. So if we do that and run it, so then here you see that where the price was at 10, right? It's first grabbing all the prices that are 10. So the main order by is the price. So it's gonna order by price first, and then when it gets to one where you've got a duplicate price, it's gonna order by product name. In this case, you know, you got an A, an L, and an S. All right, let me kill this one. That was order by. This is and. Okay. So this one is this is where you got an and. So it's gonna where the country is Spain and the customer name, and we'll look at this as well. Let's just try this real quick. So in this case, yeah, customer name like a G. So basically, this means starts with a G, right? So in this case, there's only 2 records. It depends. See this percent? It's going to be starting with a G and anything after, right? But you could also do it like this. Let's see. I don't know what this is going to be. That's going to come back with the same thing. So if it had another G in there, let's see. An N. What can we do? An N maybe. So here it's using where the customer like here it's not starting with an N, right? It's anywhere there's an N in the customer name at all, right? Well, plus Spain, right? The Spain. So it's got to be only Spain. That's why it's only like that. So if we got rid of this all, kind of confuse things there a little bit. Sorry. So here, anywhere you got an N anywhere in here, it's going to bring that back, right? I don't know if we go backwards here, what this was originally. It had that like that. So if we get rid of, it was like that, wasn't it? So that we brought back 2 records, yeah. We get rid of this and just do the customer name. This is just great. You can play around with this and learn a lot from this. So in this case, this one started with G, right? So all these are going to start with G, but I didn't do the and with the country. So Brazil, USA, and Venezuela has ones that start with G as well. But like I said, yeah. So the percent, this basically means starts with a G and anything after. So if you do the opposite here, right, it's going to do that. So this is ending in a G, right? All right. An or. So here's an or where countries Germany or Spain. It's pretty self-explanatory there. I don't see any reason to take a look at that. Obviously, you could have more than just 2. You could have multiple ors here, right? And it's very beneficial to look at the syntax here. It helps, right? And it even shows you the demo database. Like I probably should have showed you that earlier. And then show, combining and or together, right? So here you've got where country, Spain, and so you're doing all of this as well. So, all of this condition has to evaluate, right? Evaluate and come back with, has to return something to use with the and, right? So that's or not. Yeah. So here, yeah, let's look at not. So, and that's 86. So instead of using not, let's see. So that was 86. Nope. Doesn't like that. Can't do that one. Missing operating query expression. Country is not equal to Spain. Can't do that. Not really worried about insert into. So most of the stuff we're going to be doing is we're not being, for this lab, we're really doing all select related statements. We're not updating the database or anything like that, right? Let's see. Let's min max. So here, yeah, let's look at this. So select the min price from product. So products, okay. Let's do that. So this, this is kind of a tool you can use, especially because when you're doing like this, this is a function, right? This is a function, and when you use a function, it's just returning something. It's not really returning a row, right? It's returning, in this case, it's doing a min on the price column, right? And so it's returning a value, right? Just returning a value. It's not really a column where it's returning. So we're kind of used to rows and columns in databases. It's just returning that min price. So sometimes you may want to do something like this where you can basically say you're actually giving this a name, right? You're saying this min price as like that. So then it would come back as this. So there's times you may want to do that, okay? By default, though, for this thing, it's going to be that one. And that's just because that's what's in this product thing, right? I don't know why it kind of actually did that like that, to be honest with you. But that's what it did. And then here's count. So these are different functions, right? Min and max was a function. Count's a function, right? And then we're going to run this. Yeah. It's just how they have this database set up, So they're calling this expression 1000. I don't know how they got this set up. So, but select count from products. And that's another one where you could just do, as you want to say, you want to call it count. So then it's going to change that. Oh, no, it didn't. Well, it helps if I do that, right? Well, I'm not sure what I'm doing right there. What am I doing wrong there? What do we do on mix? As from products. And another thing I did want to kind of warn you, shouldn't be a big deal. Oh, count. Yeah, you can't quite do that like that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't thinking right. It's early. So here's this. So select some quantity. Let's run this, and it's going to do that same thing. So here, though, I think I should be fine. Yeah. So here you use it as if you want to, right? The others, it's actually because it's a column of data. The count's a little different, right? Count's just the number of every record, right? Here we're doing a sum of a column. Okay, that average. That's the average price from products. We're going to run that. That's how we do average. And so did want to point out, you don't see where clauses in here because you can't use where clauses when you're using these functions like this. And we'll look at what you can do on that. Let's get rid of all these. Got a little carried away with that. Like, we looked at like already. Customer like that. So once again, starting with an A, right? So these are starting with an A. And then if you did it the other way, or you could just do it like that too, right? So if you do it like that, that's going to bring back a bunch because that's just going to be anywhere in the middle of any of them. You get rid of this like that and run it. That's going to be just at the end. So you'll notice every single one of these is just at the end. All right. Wildcards. Let's look at this. Select star. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we need to. Yeah, this is a good one here that we need to look at. So basically you're doing here is select star from customers where country in any of these, right? Germany, France, UK. And that's where you use in. Between. Let's try this. You know, one thing I did want to bring up, this is SQL, this basic SQL. This really isn't necessarily, because Microsoft, it's called TSQL, and it's a different flavor of SQL, but in most cases, you're not really going to run into any problems, right? There are some subtle differences here and there. But this is kind of basic SQL. If you're using other database management systems like Oracle and DB2, which is the IBM's SQL database management system. SQL is pretty much the same in a lot of ways. Okay, so this is kind of just like really vanilla SQL, so to speak, what they're doing here in W3 schools. Okay, let's run this one. So this is a price between 10 and 20. And then, just here's all the responses from that. But you should also be doing where price is, I think you should be able to do this here. Greater than equal to and price is less than and equal to. Let's see what happens here. If it's going to let us do this. It did. Yeah. So two different ways to do that. You can use the between, right? Or you can actually do it like this as well. So obviously between, so here you got greater than equal to 10. And so, but if you want to do, if price is greater than 10 and price is less than 20, right? You're not going to have 10 in there on that, right? So just by default though, so let me go back here. So to get this as the same as that between statement, right? You'd have to do it like that. Is greater than or equal to, greater than 9. Sorry. I'm probably confusing things here. That's the only way to get that 10 in. If you're using just a greater or than sign. And I guess what my point really is between is inclusive. It's going to be between 10, counting 10 and 20. It's just not between, it's not like 11 through 19. It's going to be between 10. So 10 inclusive, inclusive of 10 and 20, right? Two different ways to do it. Between's probably a little cleaner, a little easier in most cases, right? But just remember it's inclusive. So it's going to include anything in 10, between 10 and 20, inclusive 10 and 20, right? Alias joins. I don't know if there's a lot there on that right now. Yeah, there's some joins we're going to be doing some assignments. I'm probably going to maybe just create a separate video on some joins. Because it could be a little more confusing. Let's see here. So here's group by. And so what this is doing is this is counting the number of customer IDs. Look at number of customer IDs, okay? country from customers, order by country. So let's go ahead and run this. And as you can see here, what it's going to do is here's your count, right, of 3. Here's your count of 3 for Argentina, 2 for Australia. So this is what this is doing. It's grouping it together by country, and it's counting how many per country, and this is what that group by does. Okay. Otherwise, if we just get rid of this, well, yeah, of course that's not going to work. Yeah, you can't do that. But that's what you do group by, to group them by country, right? Group them by a certain field, a certain column. So that's group by. Having here, let's see what we got. The having clause was added to SQL because the where keyword cannot be used with aggregate functions. All right. So what do we do this group by? Let's look at that again real quick here. So obviously you don't see a where clause there either, right? Because you can't use that in that situation. Having. So here you're selecting the count from customers, group by country, having count customer IDs greater than 5. Okay? So this is only going to return the ones that are greater than 5. So Brazil has 9, 11, so anything greater than 5, right? Where the customer ID, where the count of customer IDs is greater than 5. All right, exist. Let's look at that. Yeah, so this is kind of doing it, which is, a little more challenging. You're actually doing another select within a select, right? So you're selecting the supplier name from suppliers, where, right, where exist. So you select product name from products, where products, supplier ID. Yeah, you're doing all this. So if it'll only return the ones that meet this requirement here, right? So let's try this ourselves and we'll run this. So here's all the supplier names. Number 24 from products where supplier ID. Yeah, this might be another one that it might be beneficial. This exists. Let me see. Let me figure out if there's anything in those labs where that's going to be relevant or not. But I know some of the joins will be relevant for some of those ones in the lab. So I'll look at those. But a lot of these that we just went over here are going to be helpful in what you'll be using for the different select statements in the lab.